But yeah, comment section. That's not cancer at all. Let's have some fun, man. So Bless Online, this is going to come at a different approach from my peers. A lot of people talking about the physical game, and this is actually going to be the opposite. This is going to be the other side of the coin here, which basically nobody talks about. And honestly, I don't blame you because it's something very vague and amoebus, and yeah, it's just something that's intangible. It's hard to understand, but as somebody with as much experience in these kind of games as me, I had to learn this from heartbreak. So no, I didn't even learn this in school. I went to school at Full Sail University for game design, and we were taught, well, basically, like, I was the design, right? So that's going to be like the person who leads the team that actually, like, you know, comes up with the idea for the game, the gamification, the mechanics, maybe map design, stuff like that. Okay, so that's what I did. And we were taught basically like in very specific industries. So like I would be the design, then we had the artist, then we have the coder, the program, you know, stuff like that. But we also, keep in mind, we weren't taught the entirety, basically. I mean, game design, it kind of, you know, touched on it, but the entire other part of publication of a game. It was so focused on like, hey, these are the mechanics that you usually use in an RPG. Hey, this is what you do in a platformer, what makes it feel good, etc. You know, we were so focused on the physical gameplay and the game feel, at least in school, and I think basically most people are, that we have no idea what the whole publishing thing is. Now, I don't know how those classes are now, but I'm just telling you, in even college, a very expensive college, yeah, for profit, laugh it up, whatever. I didn't learn that. I didn't know that. I had to learn this from heartbreak of my own, of going out through games and learning that some games need more than to just be a good game, if that makes sense. Gameplay is in fact not everything, and debatably is not even the majority of what makes up the actual content of an online game, and I would say specifically an MMO. So that's why people are talking about Bless Online. And if that doesn't make any sense to you, because I just ran on those ideas, that's okay. That's what the rest of the video is for. Bless Online is probably going to be a good game. And how do I know that? Mainly because of how it's being published. That is even why I applied to be an emissary, because I actually truly put my money where my mouth is, and I think the game's going to do good because they are reaching out to the community and taking those ideas and implementing them. Of course, that's the physical game, but look what they did. Yes, they're making a better game mechanically, but they reached out to the community. They are listening to the community so far, at least so far, right? They have even had auditions for voiceovers, and the way they have the emissary thing, like how official and how sleek and clean that is, they're flying me out to San Francisco. Like, they are so interested in directly taking the community and putting it in their game so that the game can then spread throughout the community. That's why the MMO community is talking about Bless, because they're making us talk about Bless. We are blessed to have Bless because we often don't get that. Let me just ask you, I know, run-on sentences and we're going all over the place seemingly, but it does all connect. You just have to trust me. WildStar. How many reviewers and how many critic aggregation sites have that as a highly reviewed game? Now you can say, well, WildStar actually has amazing gameplay. It's basically WoW 2.0, except it's not WoW 2.0 because nobody plays it. And you might say, well, population doesn't matter. You shouldn't play a game just because it's popular. Well, to play an MMO as a single player game would be pretty shit. So there is definitely some in between. There's some give and take. It just objectively, but what that number is, I don't know. It's going to change for every game. But what I can say is that a game that does try to become popular, a game that does try to have community interaction, community focused gameplay, which is what my last video was, saying I love the PvEVP and those, the social interaction with that. And I tried to express that. But really also the thing that makes Bless so hype for everyone is that they are making it hype. That's what publishers do. They talk about the game, they hype it up. You can see the social media engagement. You can see people like me, It's Ziz, Fever, freaking everyone, completely new people like Vress, It's Ziz, and we have Blazy Peon also talking like from low to big, everyone in between talking about Bless Online, going out of their way, not just doing first looks, not just doing pre-impressions or something, but multiple videos on Bless because they're just doing a good job at publishing the game. They're doing a good job at getting that information out. They're getting a good job at taking information and putting it in the game. The new update for the class combat thing is actually coming to mind here. So I did a video saying that I actually thought the trailers weren't good as an expression of what the real gameplay was going to be like. But the fact is that they specifically made a trailer for the combat because that was a main concern for the community. So even though the trailer wasn't perfect, and Bless may not be a perfect game, like everyone is hyping it up to be, they're candying up, all the information and just saying it's the best, I will never say that. But what I will say here and now is that the publishing of this game is really maybe only second to a couple crowdfunded games like Ashes of Creation. That just the insane hype that generated, that's really good, but we still have to see the game as it updates. Crowfall also was pretty good and now it's pretty bad. So the ongoing publication is definitely something to review in itself for an online game. We have to keep that always on our mind. But at the moment, the way it has been published, where it came from, yes, because it multiply failed, I actually am more excited about Bless. seeing how it failed and seeing how they're continuing to go on and radically changing the game, or, to an extent, with certain things that you would not expect a game to change. They are changing it for us. They're self-publishing it in the West for us because we are what's going to make the game. We are the content of the game. So that publishing is part of the game. And for those who don't quite understand that still, I don't know what to say. I'm using a lot of energetic words. I'm just throwing it out there, but I can jump around maybe. To me, it connects in my head, the dots, but I guess I get it. At one time, even after college, I didn't understand publishing. I didn't quite grasp it, but so far it looks pretty good. Now, we still have to see where the servers, how they're going to actually perform. We have to actually see the online interaction, what they're going to do as the game evolves and continues, but so far, what we've seen has been pretty good. Can anybody deny that this drip feeding of content and the hype that's been generated hasn't been interesting? Hasn't it been fun? Isn't it cool to jump along this bandwagon? Isn't it interesting to see where this could go? And that's the thing, is that cannot we all see that this could go somewhere, that it could be something? And that's what the hype is here. And I think you're just slightly missing something, though, is that not only could it be something, but almost assuredly, because of the community, because we are going to be feeling that fire, it will be something. Maybe not the best, maybe not it could be actually pretty bad. Who knows? But it's going to be something. And for an online game, that is actually refreshing. How many games have good reviews and no players? Or the game had to completely change around, or because it didn't have players, so they had to basically make it a non-MMO. So how many games have basically suicided, killed themselves, or radically changed because they didn't publish well enough? I'm sure you can think of so many games that have become unfun, have become desolate because they made it pay to win. They did this thing, they did that thing, or they just stopped doing trailers. They stopped making people talk about it. Yeah, I'm sure you can think of many. That is the big impact here, is that Bless Online has people talking about it. It didn't just come out with some crazy cinematic that, over-sexualized Revelation Online. It didn't just do that. There's more of a care. It's more of a down-to-earth approach. It's like, hey, combat mechanics, you had a problem with that previously. We agree, let's change it up. Let's make it more fun. We'll take these westernized games and we'll merge it with maybe some Eastern mechanics. Here you go. Here's a brand new combat system that you kind of haven't seen before. Hope you like it. And that's what they're doing. They're not just making flash. They're not just showing trimmings. They're showing actual stuff, actual interaction. They're actually publishing the game. A lot of games just straight up don't, or they just get like some shitty Nexon and Nexon just throws it on Steam and calls it a day. Absolutely not. Yeah, that was a reference to Lawbreakers. How many games, MMO or otherwise, online, right, that have good reviews, and you could say they're not bad games, but now they are literally worthless. You can't even play them as free-to-play games because nobody plays them. There's no tournaments, there's no esports scene, there's no community interaction. In an online game, that is everything. So Bless Online has done a good job so far. We have to see how that continues, obviously, duh, but so far it's been good. And if you think it hasn't been good, then fight me. I can say the trailers have been lackluster in some ways. I would like some trimmings. I would like a little bit more flash. I think I could do some pretty good video game capture artistry. If you need some work, Bless Neowiz. If you need somebody, I'm available. But I think it's been cool. So yeah, if I could say that over and over again. That's all I got to say, though. That's pretty much it. I've tried to reiterate this specifically over and over again, but that's what I want to hit home. That so many people just can't get through their heads, but I get it. I understand why. So Bless Online, so far the publishing has been good. Let's see the server.